Aloha, my name is Benedict Howard, and I'm going to do the first unboxing I've done on any of the Avazzia products. Now, I've heard of them, I don't know, 5 years ago, and just as they were like a startup or going into concept, and now we have these devices. They've been out several years. There's some great videos on YouTube you can take a look at. Mostly I've seen on sports injuries. But the nice thing about it is that some of the good, of the top-of-the-line product is also you can get a subscription from your doctor for. So, you know, that's a big plus. You could get most or some of it or most of it or all of it paid for, even under Medicaid. So it makes an excellent, a really excellent pain management device. Not only that, cure pain management device. Oh, I can't say that word. Excuse me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical person. So, excuse me, guys. So what we have here is a this is how it came to me. I ordered it with the back probe, which I'm going to show you in a moment, because that's really good for all your back pain problems. You want to solve your back pain problems, that's certainly an accessory you want to get. So we've got the packing slip and a couple of extras that they sent along just arrived today. So one is a clip for putting it on your belt, and another one is the electrode that was missing for the back piece. So let's start with the device itself. Here we go. So in there is a case that's holding the actual Avazzia product. There's an extension cord in this kit that I got, and this may vary from time to time as we put different specials on and things, but the kit that I got, it had this electrode with these two plus minuses on it, and a bag of conductive electrode pads, so you can stick those on your trouble spots. And they're reusable, and they fit into the side of the device, but more on the electrodes later. Handy little manual, and a great name, and very simple instructions. So let's get to the device itself, because that's where it's all at. Now there's two compartments in here. I've apparently opened the back up. So here we go. Now this one is the Best Pro Plus. It retails at just over 1,000, and more about that in my about typed portion under the video here. And because I'll put different features up, I'll put different sales if they're going on. I've got my link to my Facebook business page, Benedict Howard, and other stuff that you can link to from this video. So this is the Avazzia Best Pro 1. It's a biofeedback device, an electrical stim with electrodes here, and these have a nice curved design to them. Actually, this is one of the superior features of this device is the electrodes. You can probably see there's a small radius on it, and I'll later on compare that to some of the other devices, but that's really nice. Simple battery compartment, 2 AA batteries. I'm not sure how they last yet. I've only been using it a while. Now, here this device, which to me looks like a CB. Foxtrot Bravo, come in. No, just kidding. But on the side here, there's an on button. When you turn it on, there's a slight beep, and then those dots light up. Now that, when you turn it on, it's at 0 power to the electrodes over here that I'm rubbing with my thumb. But if I increase the plus sign here until I start feeling the tingles back here on my thumb, in this case, I'm moving. Yeah, there it goes. So it's very smooth. It's a nice piece of polished stainless steel. That very nice. And so that's kind of high, that power level. Let's look where we went. Okay, we were kind of high. Now you see, I'm bringing the power down now, and it's dropping down, and it's going back towards 0, and now it's off. So moving from here to here roughly is probably where most people will be at, is in that first one plus a little bit. But you know, in sensitive skin, you really want to keep this low. That's almost off now. Okay, it's off. I'd bring it off so just that starts to, so that you could use on sensitive materials like around an open wound or something. Whoops, wrong way. So anyway, you bring it up and you put it wherever on the skin, and you bring the power up to whatever level is comfortable. So that's basically the power off and on, or up and down. If you don't feel it, you can keep turning it up. But at some stage, you probably will start to feel it, and then you're going to want to rapidly, actually very quickly, bring the power down, because it can start to charge up those cells of electricity, and then it gets to capacity, and then it starts to feed into lower tissue which are maybe more alive, and the nervous system is not kicking in and saying, hey, it's getting too high. So, bringing it down. So, on this unit, in the first setting, when you first turn it on, the dot is there, and there are three other dot positions for a total of 4 in that circle around there. And you get to those different settings by pushing the middle dial. So that's pretty cool. So it makes it very easy to go into this setting which they have labeled as being stimulate. And this is actually one of the feature signals of the written line and the ENOT line, after which these devices were all modeled. So let's see if we can hear this. So you can hear the frequency changing. So it's sweeping the frequency up and down, and then up and down. So it's giving a smorgasbord of different frequencies to the body. So that's to stimulate many functions in the neuropeptide mixes, in the intercellular activities, and so it's to stimulate the tissue. Now the next setting down over here, and incidentally this, next setting down the south point, which is, can't read it because the camera light's been in my eyes, something stimulate, deep stimulate. And what that does is a different setting. Let's see if I can get close to the camera here to let you hear it. Oh, that's steam right now at that high frequency. So what that's doing is it's changing the way that the electricity is getting in. So you've got like this damping effect where it's like, you know, you're toning or you're singing down a long tube. And so it's like changing the way that the electricity is moving and in and around the tissues, into the cell wall membranes, and vibrating those, and vibrating all of the cell intracellular products like the mitochondria. And over here, in this setting, let's see if I can read this one now, is for acute conditions. So you've just got an injury, you've just got a bad bruise, you've just broken a bone, heaven forbid, you've just cut yourself, you've got a cold, you've got sinus problems, although you could use this setting as well for this. But those sort of things where it's an acute onset. And if you hear this frequency, it's a steady frequency at around, I think it's 140 hertz. I haven't actually read the manual on what that is. And then over here we go back to the center one. Now, we can also do a function which is part of the training, which is called dosing. And by placing the thumb or contact with the electrodes back here, what it's doing is calculating the activity relative to a healthy thumb or a not so healthy thumb. And down there, it's telling us by that flicking bulb that I wasn't in the middle of it. I was up here, so it's a little active. So what it does is the flashing lights on here indicate the activity of the tissue. So it's like a little gauge there that's saying it's hyper or overactive or underactive. I believe that's the way that this one works, because it's different to the way that the dose mode is calibrated on the DNAS or the written lines, for instance. And then, so this frequency, which is a lower, yeah. So that's like around, I don't know, 90 hertz, 60, 70 hertz, somewhere, yeah, 60 hertz, I think. And so that's more slowing down, it's more relaxing than the higher frequencies. And so those are the 4 settings, you can't go wrong. Those are the 4 settings. So most of the time you're going to be, if you want to deep stimulate with this one down at the bottom, stimulate and get things going, but deep stimulate deep into the tissue around a hip joint. Over here with the acute conditions, you've got something that's just come on quickly, and you want to deal with that, or it's just an old pain has come up, and then that could be managed partly by this, but you're going to use this one here for a lot of the time, I would suggest. That's because it's broadcasting the widest range of neuropeptides. What does that mean? It means that the body is composed of proteins and all of the waters and fluids, etc., etc. But the proteins are manufactured, according to the Russians, in these C fibers. And these are the long nerve fibers coming down through the arms and back and everywhere on our thorax. It's different from the A fibers. There's a lot in the gut too. And so these actually manufacture these proteins, and that's what is used, I believe, and from what I've seen of like working with this thing for 10 years, is the reason why you can take somebody that's due for a hip replacement, and just by placing this all many hours over the first few weeks, we can get rid of the pain and create the basic pharmacopoeia out of which the body heals itself. So it's quite an amazing device. These Avazzia products are made here in the USA, and they're available on prescription, which is handy for some of us, and it comes with a nice little pouch. Let's take a look at the this electrode. I love this one. It's very designerish. It's Italian. And what's so nice about it is that it gives one the ability to join these two devices together with this cable. And just right here. So you remember what I was saying about the power levels, bring them up slowly at the beginning, and each time you apply it to the skin until you know roughly how long it takes to get to the power level that works for you. And so the same applies. So this is the device. And what he's great for, feels really good too, but he's really designed for reaching down to the back and making it much easier to reach and brush around. And I really encourage you to do this. Actually, of course, you'll be doing it on your skin. And so you're brushing up and down. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm feeling little referrals or sparks of electricity going down my arm. Yeah. This device is really a nice, well-designed electrode. Be great for going up and down the spine, for instance, on either side, around the rib cage, and always basically following the contours. See how I'm rotating my arm and elbow over there, following the contours around the body, and getting the sweeping motion. And what you're doing is like you're when it's in contact with the skin, of course, you're basically creating a film of electricity all over the body. You're charging up all of the surface area. You're working everywhere. So what that does is it charges up the meridians. It charges up all of the chakras. It relaxes you tremendously because it's creating endorphins and other neuropeptides that are in the mix that's made by tingling the C fibers. And all of these other immune system benefits, pain management, reparation of old tissues, softening of scar tissue, the list goes on, but that's on the side here. If you go to the Russian clinical studies, you'll see it. So these devices are second to none. I'm really impressed with this combination on here, and I really like it. They've got a much stronger, sturdier cable than they had on the pad set on this, which is what it really needs, because you're going to be using this a lot. Your friends are going to be using it a lot. You're going to come over and you're going to have like Avazzia parties using your Best Pro 1. So my name is Benedict Howard. You can catch me on Facebook at my business page, Benedict Howard, and looking forward to talking with you some more and meeting up with you in one of my webinars. Aloha.